Hello everybody, I hope you guys have been having a wonderful day, pimps. My name is John, and today I I want to start off by saying that I have already made a review on Suicide Squad, but it was more haphazard compared to what I'm about to do right now. I don't want to talk about like the positives and negatives. I kind of want to focus on things that I think that this game should fix. It's gonna make a lot of sense. Just bear with me for a little bit. Sit back, relax, and just let me try to talk something out real quick. So if you go online, if you haven't heard of Suicide Squad, by the off chance that my small channel has reached you before these massive titans of the industry have talked to you first about Suicide Squad, you're probably going to assume that Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League is one of the worst games that has ever come out. People are like, don't play this game. This game is dookie. This game is like diarrhea and Viagra had a baby because it's hard and stinky. It's gross. I understand that, and I can understand how it might come off that this game is awful. But I wanted to talk about like actual reasons as to why I think this game is considered bad, reasons why I think there are things that they could fix in the game, and overall that this game, my main message right now is the game is really not that bad, even in the slightest, and I'm just going to talk about it, and I'm going to swap over to some gameplay as we talk, like I normally do for my reviews, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this with me. So I was lifting today, leg day, champ, and I was listening today, and I was like talking to everybody about how I think that people being like rude, like off rip, just being like Suicide Squad is awful, just doesn't make any sense. There were two comments that I heard about this game that kind of motivated me to make this. One of them was, I can't believe Gotham City, because there was a side-by-side comparison between Batman Arkham Knight to Suicide Squad. The person doing it half-assed the gameplay to Suicide Squad. I'm not giving them credit. Look online. They were literally just standing in a room and then just slamming a hammer as Harley Quinn. And then they went to Batman Arkham Knight and they were doing combos and shit. And I was like, yeah, okay, let me show you gameplay of this game, and I promise you'll probably be like, I might check it out. But they said that Gotham City and Batman Arkham Knight look so much more full of life than Gotham City, Metropolis, and Suicide Squad. And my response to that is no shit. In Gotham City, there's not 99% of the population gone. There's a lot of lore that people miss in whenever they give these reviews, or not even reviews, it's just whenever they people comment on it. And I'm not saying that you have to sit down and love this game, but I think if you're going to critique this game, if you're going to critique Suicide Squad, you need to critique Suicide Squad. I will admit, there isn't a lot of people in Suicide Squad besides enemies and the civilians that you save and some of the missions that you have, but I think that adds to the fact that you are under an invasion, and they do a really good job of encapsulating the feeling of you are random people, random mercenaries that kill the Suicide Squad. The other comment that I want to talk about before we get into the nitty-gritty that I heard that I thought was kind of weird is that there was the same channel, they were comparing Batman Arkham Knight to Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. And everyone was irritated because the game looks the same and operates the same way. It's just Suicide Squad is a live-action game. And my question to that is whenever this game was originally announced, everyone wanted it to be like Batman Arkham Knight. And now it operates like that. The only difference is it's just killing the Justice League. In this game, you are killing the Justice League. And I want to talk about that, and eventually we're going to talk about the gameplay primarily. But in this game, that is your job. Your job is to kill the Justice League as a Suicide Squad. It makes sense how they do it. All right, I'm going to give a spoiler real quick. Skip 10 seconds ahead if you don't want to hear it. Lex Luthor carries as to how it happens. There's justifications upon every single reason as they kill him. It is not like, oh, it just happens. Besides one boss fight in the game is fine. The boss fights are unique. And yes, the ending to the boss fights are sometimes anticlimactic, 9 times, but only to 2 of them. The other 2, they consistently there's still stuff happening with said characters. And I think that they do a really good job of creating a good story. In my opinion, the story isn't primarily the biggest part about Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. In fact, I think it's more of kind of stepping in, it's trying to hey, this is a movie and then the rest is where the game kind of shines, in my personal opinion. Because the gameplay to this game is probably one of the best games I've ever played, and I'm not trying to say that in like a ha 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 it's so good kind of way. Like, I mean, it reminds me a lot of like Warframe and Borderlands had a baby, because there's a lot of cool quips that they say sometimes. I know sometimes they may get annoying, but mute the game, put on music. It's a good game to grind. I do it all the time. I've actually been trying to grind the game constantly, but I haven't had time to, because I've been trying to make videos, you know, whatever. But when it comes to like the story itself, I feel it is more of like a movie. And honestly, I didn't really notice any huge plot holes in it, but that's not to say that there aren't problems with the game. And I did, like I said, this is kind of my segue in. These are the problems that I think that Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League has. And yes, like normal, this does contain spoilers, and so be prepared. One huge problem was the Batman boss fight. I've mentioned that before, and I think that everyone can kind of hop on that bandwagon. It was very distasteful towards the spirit in which they held Batman at. Every other scene besides the boss fight gave Batman great justice, and his death, I think, was a fantastic death. They made a reference to the Killing Joke. I think it was very nice. I got goosebumps during it, and I also think that most of the one-liners were unique. I pride myself in being able to predict what's going to happen in a game, being able to say a line, and that's what happens. And that didn't really happen too much in this game. However, there were a lot of one-liners. So if you're not a big nerd and like into that little ooh, like snap, you're probably not gonna like it, and you're gonna consider it cringe and not like the best. The Brainiac boss fight is very, very, very boring, because it literally is just the Flash. You are fighting the Flash again. And I thought that whenever you fight Brainiac again in different multiverses, that maybe that would change. And so that popped up, like I'm doing the end game, and like you can redo that mission on a harder difficulty. And I thought that that would change. Maybe it's because I accidentally did it on the right difficulty. I'm going to go back in and change it. And if it is, I will literally make it like a short about it immediately. But for the most part, that boss fight is pretty boring. And that mission itself is copy paste. And that is pretty ridiculous. Another really big thing that I don't like is you cannot skip the loot sections. I have to sit through it. So when I end a mission, I have to sit through where I get my loot. I can't just press hold B, keep it pushing, just skip through the dialogue and everything like that. I have to sit through it, and I have to wait, and I'm like, God damn it, I want to go kill stuff. I have to wait like a minute for that whole loading screen to be done, maybe less, but like it's too long. And there are no loading screens in this game, but teleporting through interdimensional travel, that is like the only loading screen, because sometimes you'll float in space for a minute. You're like, okay, pop like a tips up or something like that. I don't know. It was very, very mediocre, and sometimes it's just like, it's kind of annoying. For the most part, when it comes to the gameplay's easy, unless you do something that is supposed to be hard, which I think is good. You can increase the difficulty the longer you play. You can unlock different difficulties, which make the game way harder. Gradually, it'll start getting harder, and there is modes to test your strength. The game is definitely probably one of those games you should play with a friend, because if you play it solo, it's not hard to play solo. The gear you give to your allies and companions, they keep that gear, and they will use it in fights, and same with the skills and everything like that. So if you build your entire team, you will have an unstoppable team fighting with you and just doing crazy shit, and I think that's awesome. Like, all the stats stack. From how I can understand it, I've been watching Deadshot while I'm playing Harley Quinn just do some crazy stuff. I would also like to mention the movement in this game is amazing, but they all feel completely different. That being said, there are pros and cons to that. Like, if you go in and you only play like King Shark, you are not going to be able to pick up Boomerang and just be like, oh, I got this. There are counterparts to each one. Like, I think if you're good at Deadshot, you're going to be really good as Boomerang. They're all really nice, and I think everyone should give them a try, every single movement, because they all like feel really cool in their own way. But yeah, that I guess could be annoying to some people, and maybe not to some. But I just figured I'd mention that real quick. Another one is the way the skill tree operates is very unique. I've never noticed a skill tree like this. So I'm going to show a little bit of the skill tree. Basically, how the skill tree works is you put a skill point into every time you level up, it gets a skill point in each tree. So if you get up to level 3, it'll get a skill tree in the, I think it's pink, blue, purple. You get one in each. You don't get one, you don't get to just build one, then build the other like Borderlands style. You get 1, 2, 3, which is pretty cool. No matter what, you can basically, you could technically max out each tree, but you can't at the same time, because the way that it works is it kind of goes in a, oh my gosh, if I say this wrong, I'm going to clown on myself. The horizontal line. Yes, okay. Oh my gosh, I haven't used this word in a long time. It goes in a horizontal line. So it goes 1, 2, 3, and then there are builds you can do, but I feel like the builds are pretty lackluster compared to what you could make, and they seem to, the game kind of tells you what build is perfect and good for each character. Sorry, I'm closing all the that tab. And I think that's cool. I like it. It seems very organized, and there is still build potential, but I know some people might find that really irritating. It doesn't seem like the game does the work for you. It's just, it seems like they're trying to make some of the very stressful aspects of some games, they try to make it more simplistic, but you can still make it kind of stressful if you like really dive into it, just like normal. And again, there is a second skill tree, which is totally worth checking out if you haven't, if you haven't seen it, I'll pop up a picture of it. I think that that's pretty cool too. For the most part, this game doesn't have any, like, in my opinion, and I'm giving my genuine opinion, I also thought the finals was, like, it just to give, like, an example, the finals to me wasn't that great. Pal Worlds is awesome, but it's just Arc, like, reskin with Pokemon, which is pretty cool. I don't really think games are bad. There's always pros and cons between each one. The only reason I'm making this video is because I don't know why. I got home after the gym, I was sitting here grinding, and I was like, dude, like, and I guess it's been throughout while this game's been out. It's just like, I feel like so many people are jumping on the hate train for this game, when I think if you just try the game, you won't hate it that bad. And like always, my advice for this is wait for a couple months for them to get more content out and then pick it up. If you pick it up right now, you're probably, because of how this whole thing's going and it's how the whole like hate train's going, $70 for this game, you might not find it worth it. And I totally respect that. Like, and it's your opinion. You are allowed to have your own opinion. Me personally, I think it was totally worth $70. I have a lot of fun playing this game. It's really cool. It gives me great vibes. Harley Quinn, I always say this, Harley Quinn has one of the best movement in the game. Like, some of the best movement, one of the best movement in the game. It's amazing. She feels like you are literally Spider-Man. You can build momentum if you combine her abilities. You can dive down and then it swings on a pendulum. They really put great effort into her movement. King Shark is a literal beast. He climbs up a wall like Venom style. They put so much effort into like everything. Their mouth moves with their words. There's so many positive things, and there are some negative things about this game. I know a lot of people don't like some of the story parts, and I know I'm going back and forth, and I understand that some people are going to be really annoyed with that, but I'm trying to be as genuine as possible, and I want people to try the game. I know that not a lot of people are going to see this video. Matter of fact, probably only like 20 people are going to see this, but I just want you to understand, like, give it time, because I assure you this game is not that bad. But I want to explain why I think people think this game is bad. Is because the first people to pick this game up are Batman Arkham Knight fans, and they wanted Batman to get justice, and I kind of feel bad for him, because Batman, the only time he got hella good justice was before the boss fight. The boss fight, he did not get any justice in that thing, and I feel kind of bad. Should have got a second phase. They can't change that unless they, with the interdimensional travel, they get a second time where you fight Batman, except this time is like way harder, where they're like, oh, we fight. Actually, matter of fact, if you're a developer and you do that, you redeem your game, I promise you. If you give us a second attempt to fight Batman, and it's like, oh, we already did this, and then Batman mops the floor with them, that'd be pretty cool too. I've also thought that, like, now that there is interdimensional travel, and there's different dimensions, technically 12, it would be pretty cool if one of the Suicide Squad dies and they get replaced with that version of it, and you're like, ah, and everyone's like, ah, and you're like, ah, you know, loss is pretty cool. And Joker coming in is pretty nice. I understand people don't like how he looks. I kind of don't either. It's kind of weird, but also, like, I've been looking at Harley Quinn a lot, and she also kind of looks weird to me, but I think it's because I'm like, you're hot, but you're crazy, but you're so hot. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just rambling. My main point is, give the game some time. There are bad things to it, but I don't think the game is nearly as bad as what everyone's saying, and I wanted to put out what my bad thoughts on the game were. and I wanted to kind of like also put in a little bit more positivity, because if I dedicate my whole channel to this game, I want it to, I honestly, in my opinion, I just don't want the developers to give up on it because so many people are shitting on it. Like saying things like, I seriously would never ever recommend buying this game. Oh my God, what they did to Justice League is, Suicide Squad is awful. There's no way that they would beat the Suicide Squad, or Suicide Squad would beat the Justice League. There is way. It's the same thing as there's no way that the Punisher would kill everybody in the Marvel universe. But that motherfucker did it. You really expect me to believe that the Punisher would kill Thor? Really? Like, actually, no, it doesn't make sense. But that's the beauty of nerd world. But the best part is shit can change. Anyway, I'm rambling. Point is, give the game some time, be open-minded on it, take a step back. It's not that bad, but there are some bad things that they can fix, and I just wanted to name them. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Peace out.